Welcome,
Hey,
Jonathan.
thank you very much. Good to be with all you folks. Um, this is, I'm always excited about talking about this project. Let me give you a little background about myself, and then I'll talk about what we're doing. I grew up mostly in Nebraska, Colorado as well. So I'm native to Nebraska. And I grew up always knowing about white clay. My mom was up from the Sandhills up in that area. And then after high school, I worked on a ranch up there. When I was still in high school, a man moved to our town, and I met him, and he had lived in White Clay for 5 years, he and his wife. So I've kind of always known about White Clay and just kind of the tragedy that it was. When I'm among other things, I'm a lawyer and a business person, kind of run some companies. But when a gentleman and his wife were living up there in 2016, when the state of Nebraska told the beer store owners that they were going to have to reapply for their liquor licenses, then the beer store owners, the liquor store owners, went to him and told him we would be interested in selling out. And he said, okay, I don't know what to do about that. I guess I need a lawyer. And he called a guy that he knew in Colorado Springs who happened to be a client of mine. And so he put me in touch with him. And so that was how I became actively involved in White Clay. And this was in the fall of 2016, began to kind of basically negotiate with these owners of these buildings and property and these liquor stores in White Clay. And so I built relationships with them that I still have to this day. For those of you who may or may not know background about White Clay is on the very border of the Pine Ridge Reservation. I can basically throw a rock onto the Pine Ridge Reservation from our property. And when the reservations were first established, including the Pine Ridge Reservation in the late 1800s, they created a 5-mile barrier on the southern end of the Pine Ridge Reservation in Nebraska that they prohibited selling guns, knives, or alcohol in that area. When Theodore Roosevelt became president in 1905, for various reasons and pressures, he removed that barrier. And beginning in 1905, they started selling alcohol to Native Americans there in Nebraska. And basically what happened from 1905 to 2017 was massive amounts of alcohol had been sold, and basically was committing liquid genocide on the Oglala Lakota people. So by 2017, there were 4 of these liquor stores, basically just sold beer, including malt liquor beer. And they were selling, averaging over 13,500 cans of beer a day, right? Over 3.5 million a year to people who had no legal place to drink it. And so that is, you can have an open container in Nebraska, and alcohol is prohibited on the Pine Ridge Reservation. So the beer stores were closed in April of 2017, the final Supreme Court decision in September of that year. And as I became more involved in White Clay and got to know people there and what was going on around there, the question I had was, what's going to happen in White Clay if these beer stores are closed? What happens to this place, which I think has great opportunity because it's so close to the reservation, but yet it's in Nebraska, so it's not subject to all the tribal rules and regulations. So I kind of saw an opportunity there. This gentleman that I knew and his wife, we did a survey just sent out hundreds of surveys, like, what would you like to see in white clay? What are the needs? And out of that, got connected with an organization based in Rapid City called First Peoples Fund. And they had done some studies. They had done some studies about the economics of the Pine Ridge Reservation, which, as many of you know, has, depending on who you believe, between 80 and 85% unemployment rate. And at a poverty level, people living in unbelievable conditions. And really what they need is jobs. And what First Peoples Fund study found is that 76% of the people on the reservation depend on some home-based business to make ends meet or to provide for their families. And of that 70 plus percent, 76%, over 60% are artists or crafters. And most of them are what are called kitchen table artists or crafters, meaning that they clear a spot on their kitchen table and try to make quilts or beading or painting, and they don't have access to supplies, to equipment. If they need supplies, they need more beads for something they make, they have to come up with money to pay somebody to drive them to Rapid City, which is an hour and 45 minutes away. They have to buy dinner for that person, pay for their gas, and then buy their supplies and come back. And so our goal, as we established the White Clay Makerspace, was to meet the needs of these artists and crafters on the Pine Ridge Reservation. So what we have done is we were able to, I was able to get a grant from the USDA Rural Development Program, Rural Business Development Program, that allowed me to buy the largest of the former beer store buildings. It's about a 3,600 square foot building. And we've been working hard to clean it out. The Rotary Club up there has been, Rotary folks from both Rapid and Hot Springs in that area have been helping with that. And a number of other volunteers, a lot of sweat equity. And so we've gotten this building cleaned out and working on it. Our plan is to stock it with equipment. And so I'll show some pictures in a second. Actually, now is as good a time as any, right, Martin? Let me share my screen here. This may not let me navigate. So this is Linda Peterson of the Rotary Club up there. And then the woman in the background is Candy Red Cloud. She's kind of a person I've hired to be a supervisor up there. And this is the front part of the building. I'm gonna have to go in and out in order to switch photos. So this is about an $8,000 quilting machine that the grant has provided. And so artists can come there and use that machine and make star quilts. You see part of the picture, there's a layout table that they use. So, so the grant has been providing equipment and supplies. And so we're gonna build it out with equipment and supplies for artists and crafters to use, because they don't have fundamental things like even like Dremels or a way to cut things or sewing machines that work. So they're looking to get those fixed and be able to use those to make things that they can sell. And so we have been cleaning up this building. Let me show, this is the outside of the building. So this is the group that was just there on Friday. This is the east side of the building. And so the inside of the building will have looms, easels, sewing machines, and well-lit, clean places, storage places for the artists to work. And so that's the goal. So one part of it is all the equipment that we are going to provide to the artists. And then the second thing is we will actually have a store inside. So artists don't have to go to Rapid City. They just have to come 2 miles to White Clay to buy fabric, beads, leather, buffalo hides, all the string, thread, all the things that they need. We have a store in here, and the Rotary Club up there has money that they're going to help us with some initial stocking of that, and so that's going to be a big part of it. So the artists will pay $1 a day, maximum $8 a month to use the space. And then they will buy their supplies, and our supplies were intended to be at an amount above cost to help us stay open, but not at the rates that are that they get charged in Rapid City or at another place they may buy things. So those are two sources of opportunity for the artist, but then there are also two sources of revenue for White Clay Makerspace. The third thing that's going on is we are having events and things at the store. So tours, people that drive by, people in the community, visitors can come and actually meet the artists, buy their art from them. This summer, for a while, COVID allowed us to be open, and so artists would come on Fridays and Saturdays and set up tables and sell what they had made. And so we'll continue to do that. But then we also built a online store, a Shopify store. And so we've been able to put up things that the artists have made on the store and to sell those for the artists. So we've sold made several thousand dollars for the artists that they wouldn't have made otherwise in the last 2 months. And we take 12% of what the artists sell. And that's, I say, to keep the lights open. So our business model is this, right? Our business model is that we are there to do one thing, right? We're not there, there's all kinds of issues on the reservation, and we're not there to tell them what their issues are or to try to fix their issues. We're there to provide a place, a platform for the artists to help themselves. So we want to create jobs, ways in which they can help themselves and create employment for themselves and support their families. That's the one thing we're doing. So we're creating jobs, providing opportunities. Secondly is that we are not like other places that sell art. We are not an art trader. I am not buying art. White Clay Makerspace is not buying art from the artist to sell. I tell the artist, you want to sell something on the store, then you price it. You tell me what you think it's worth. I'm going to take 12%. So if you want to add 12%, that's on you. But you set your prices, what you think it's going to worth, and we're going to give you a global marketplace on our platform. So we're allowing the artist to actually make all the money off of a sale versus us, most art traders, as you know, something may sell for $450 in the market. So that art trader says, I'll give you $200 for it, and then they sell it for $450. Our goal is that the artist is making that $450. So that's our goal. So lots of exciting things are happening. At the same time, we are all, we're continue to have opportunities and needs as we are growing. We just were able to move some of our grant money to buy the property next to ours, which I'm hoping to put public bathrooms up, because we also want to build an outdoor pavilion so that in the summer months, in the evenings, a couple evenings a week, the artist can set up out in that outdoor pavilion. And so people will know, hey, on Tuesday evening, I can go to White Clay and all the artists will be there selling their wares. We also want to put on events, and they may be like a native or cultural type events, whether it involves music or dance, those kind of events. Also, we want to do education and kids camps, get some of the youth to get to come and say, hey, this is how you make this kind of a beaded bracelet. And so we get the artists and crafters to pass on their cultural heritage to the youth. So that's a lot of me trying to describe what all we're doing. So I'm happy Martin, I'm happy to answer questions, or if you think there are some things that I should flesh out a little bit further, I'm happy to do that too.
Thank you,
Jonathan. That was fantastic. Thanks for the overview. No. Go ahead, President Carl. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. You're coming in a little choppy, Marty. So do we have questions? That is a great presentation, a great update on the program out there. Members, do we have questions? And you can unmute and ask, or ask in the chat.
Yeah, I'll ask a question. Jonathan, thank you for
got a question.
Thank you for your presentation, Jonathan, and your work out there. It looks amazing. I'm wondering what your benchmarks are for success. You know, like how are you planning to measure the success of your work out there, and when you want to start doing that? I know COVID has probably presented some setbacks.
Yeah, there's no doubt that we would be going at more activity if it wasn't for COVID, but you kind of have to go with the opportunity that you have. I have my basic benchmark is while we're a nonprofit, we're also a business, and so my benchmark, one benchmark, maybe it's not word benchmark, but one measurement is going to be the amount of money that artists make through the store and through their selling. And so that's a huge thing to me, because that's why we exist, is so that the artists can make money. And obviously a natural thing of that is, as they're selling more, then that's going to allow us to continue to operate and to grow. So to me, that's the biggest benchmark, is are we really helping people through providing them the resources?
Jonathan, is it logistically, the reservation's huge, and so is there enough artisans close enough so they can so that you can get the volume sort of that you need?
Yeah, so I'll say this: in 2018, February of 28, actually it was April of 2018, when I applied for my first grant from USDA, I had 27 artists and crafters who provided letters to me that said that the makerspace was going to allow them to provide at least a part-time job for themselves. And that was a part of my grant. And that's just a drop in the bucket. Do I actually know the numbers? No, I think that the First Peoples Fund survey tells you a lot. But as we've gone on, there have been artists that regularly stop by and say, hey, I want to be part of this when you're up and going, that I wasn't aware of. So the actively engaged artist over the summer was about a third of that 27, because we were just kind of get going. So, just my read on it is those 27 are going to come back, get engaged again, as we're hopefully this summer really able to be open and fleshed out. And there is a whole pool of artists that we've become in contact with since we've been going. But I think, Carl, one of the keys is going to be that we have a store. And so word is going to spread, and as we advertise, that the artists and crafters can come buy their supplies at our store. The store is going to operate separate from, or it can, it can be conceptually operate separately from all the tools and supplies. So we're going to get artists that are going to just come and buy stuff. Then they're going to learn about us and get connected with us. And one of the things that you realize if you spend any time up there is most people know each other, or they know of each other, or so and so. Yeah, that's his cousin or her. So I think as we grow and are really able to connect with more people, that will just kind of snowball. So I will say that I've kind of had the brakes on a little bit, just because I want to be able to start really flesh this out when we're able to be open and have the capacity, because there's nothing like being invited to the open house of a business and then it's like, well, we're not ready for you, so.
Tristram Johnson has a question.
Yeah, John, is there any financial management training plan for these artists, these micro entrepreneurs, so that they understand, cost of production, net, gross? Is that, and savings accounts, is that projected?
Well, I would say you must be a member of a Rotary Club, because that sounds like a question a Rotary Club member would ask. So guess who's solving that for us? The grant that the Rotary Club did, the global grant, includes contracting with this First Peoples Fund has entrepreneurship training that they regularly put on, and so the Rotary Club grant is going to finance that. I think we're going to do our first one in September with artists, so that will be a regular thing, probably twice a year, and then ongoing mentorship as the artists go through. So yeah.
Tom Franks has a question.
Hi, John. Thanks for your presentation. It sounds pretty cool. I'm a member of a broadly defined makerspace here that is focused on woodworking and other things. And the thought that occurred to me, it's probably way down the road for you, but it sounds like what you're doing right now in your makerspace is helping the existing craftspeople. Is there any thought of going into the next level where you're sort of making beads or making furniture or making things that can be used locally? Either making supplies that the crafters need or making supplies that are needed locally, making things that are needed locally. Big plans way beyond your future, perhaps.
Well, if I can share my screen again, I'll show you what was gifted over the weekend.
Oh, a DeWalt table saw.
Yes, which actually what's on top of it is a frame jig.
Oh, cool.
So we will be making allowing artists to learn how to make frames for their artwork themselves.
Great.
So there's a drill press down there. We've been gifted a really sweet miter saw. And this is actually on the new property. This is a 30 by 40 metal building that we're gonna finish out and make a woodworking shop in half of it. And then there will be the other half, somebody donated a screen printer. And so the goal is to take some of the artwork and put it on t-shirts or clothing or other items to sell. So.
Oh, it's not that future at all. You're way ahead of me. Thank you.
It's a goal. We got to get there.
Cool.
Do we have other questions from the members?
I saw John Willis wave his hand.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, but I'm not a member.
Okay.
Hey,
we can fix that, John. We can fix that really easily.
Well, I live pretty far away now.
It's all Zoom.
I appreciate it though, but I just wanted to acknowledge that I think it's great what you've done and what you're doing, and the screen shop is going to be really fantastic because I know how much people out there love to put special art and special events onto t-shirts and stuff, and that'll really help the community too and be a money maker for the people. But I did get and give some photography equipment, but because I can't go out there until COVID says it's okay to go on the reservation, and I don't want to infringe on that. It's sitting in Potato Creek in a grandma's house, and she just hasn't been able to drive it down there. But if you know anybody who feels like driving 45 miles, she would be happy to give it to the place.
Well, you emailed me contact information. And so just so you know, John, 2 weeks ago, I met with an electrician, and just so you know, folks, the attitudes about white clay are not all positive, and the attitudes about the beer store closing is not all positive. So I've met with subcontractors. I've had a hard time getting plumbers or electricians or anything like that up to white clay. As soon as they find out where it's at, they're like, no, I don't want to be part of that. But I did get an electrician from Shadron, and he met me there, and he was excited about helping. So, and the reason I bring that up, John, is that we talked through electrical and lighting in what's going to be our studio.
That's great.
And so that's going to get hooked up in April. And so then we should begin able to set up our studio, because the value of what John is doing is the fact that when people want to put up something for sale on the online store, we want to have really high quality images of their artwork to be able to put up on the store. Because right now we're using John's little cell phone, and so the capability that John is helping us with is going to be tremendous.
And it's not fantastic equipment, but it's good starter, and I'd be happy to come out and show people how to use it.
Yeah, well, we're going to require that if we can, John.
Well, thanks. I'll email you, but thanks for doing what you're doing and for the presentation, and to all the Rotary people who are help making this happen, because I think it's great.
Super. Other questions, comments? If not, thank you very much for coming and updating us on this and arranging it. Hope you'll come back in several months or a year and keep us updated on how this goes. And if you're up and running, maybe join us in the September, October, because it's a good body of people to, maybe the artisans can sell some of their products online to some of the members.
So you're coming in September?
No. What I'm saying is, if you're up and running, some of them are going to be shopping for the holidays. And if we know that you're up and running, you may have that. They may have some access to some Rotarian customers.
Okay.
So,
well, in a few months, invite me back, and I will come give you an update.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, folks.
With that,
good to be with you all. Take care.
Have a great day.